welcome to A Drink with Live. Y'all looking fabulous tonight. We are so glad that you are here. If it is your first time, welcome. If you are a returning audience member, you know the drill. We are just here connecting over a shared experience, trying to do a little good while having a good time. So I am Kat. Let's toast to that, right? Cheers, everyone. Cheers, and welcome again. And also, cheers to our sponsor at Think Protein Bars for making all of this possible. You got to drink after you cheers. I guess it's bad luck. So, bottoms up. You guys, I am so excited to meet our guest tonight. He is just has a remarkable story and by all accounts is a remarkable human being. So let's just bring him on in. Everyone, please welcome Kevin Curry to A Drink with Live. Hi, Kevin.
What's up? How you doing, Kat? What's up, family? What's up, Drink with Fam?
Ooh, what's up? I was so curious if you were going to be partaking of alcohol or not. Some of our guests do, some might don't,
Well,
but you are Mr. Fit, so I didn't know what your level was of
yeah.
consumption.
Well, technically I'm just drinking just some old fruit juice, some fermented grape juice, technically. So, I mean, it's all good, right?
I am
Yeah, I
so
actually
stealing
do love it.
that. Ah, okay, but show people you're doing. I felt more comfortable when I saw that you were doing the wine and water combo. I'm doing the same thing. Is
Oh,
that
yeah.
usually what you do? If you drink alcohol, you always have some hydration going at the same time?
Absolutely. You got to double fist it. So that's what I tell people. If you're going to go out, you need to have some water. And that's my biggest rule because I didn't have the best relationship with alcohol, you know, to be quite honest with you. So I've kind of learned. So part of it was out of necessity to feel better the next day. But I've learned that it's also just a better healthful practice to hydrate because alcohol tends to dehydrate us. So, hey, you'll want to feel
Right.
great, but also make sure that you get your water intake
Okay, see, I knew you were going to be full of tips. He's already given us tips, everybody.
in.
I want to go back. Your story is so fascinating.
Hmm.
And obviously, you've built this huge community and this amazing brand, and you've got this loyal following, and people are just, I can't even tell you. When I announced that you were going to be on A Drink with tonight, I got so many DMs from people saying, I
Oh,
love
sweet.
Kevin. I'm so excited. That's so cool. But I think your story is even so fascinating. So before we even get to all, dip into all of your expertise on food and fitness and recipes and whatnot, can you tell people who maybe aren't familiar a little bit about the genesis of FitMenCook and where this all for you some 10 years ago?
Yeah, thank you for that. And thank you for having me for real because I love doing stuff like this where I get to just to connect with people like one on one. I think sometimes social media doesn't really allow that opportunity. So my story, if people are just not kind of joining or like learning about me, is that it started almost a decade ago. And I was at a place in my life where some people may actually um, be there too, where you're just really unhappy. I was super depressed. I was overweight, and I was medicating with a lot of food. Period, and that was just the thing that I could afford. Number one, I was broke as a joke. It was around 2008 time frame. So when the stock market crashed, like everything just kind of went to hell in a handbasket. I thought that I was going to get married. That 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 fell through, and I found myself back on my parents' couch here in Dallas, Texas, trying to figure out life. And I just began just to eat and drink very, um, heavily, drink in secret by myself, and kind of trying to hide stuff. I mean, I was like eating cupcakes in the parking lot of 7-Elevens, drinking also, so that way people wouldn't find it, just behind the scenes. And what changed for me was when someone posted this photo of me on Facebook. And this is before the times where they had the Facebook controls where you can say don't tag me and stuff. You have to approve it. So it just went immediately to my page, and I was like, "Yo, I didn't realize how greasy and how just I I had become." And that was one of the
Mm.
first aha moments. And the second one was just I wanted to feel better. I was super depressed. I was having suicidal ideation, and I just wanted to feel better. And I reached out to a personal trainer online and social media, and they gave me some crazy price, right, to go ahead and to lose weight. And I said, I can't afford that, and I'm not interested in that either. So I went over to this bookstore, Half Price Books, and I bought every single book they had there about nutrition and just began to consume the content. And my idea was a much more of a crowdsourcing idea, in that like I was going to start up a blog and post every single thing that I was eating, so that way people like you, Kat, who are very fit, who are well and healthy, could just give me some advice on what to do. And I was taking meals that I really enjoyed eating, from like soul food to Mexican food, and making them more healthful and posting it, trying to get feedback. And the reverse happened. There are more people out there who are just like me, who were tired of the same old
Mm.
chicken breast, brown rice, and broccoli meal. And they just began to follow me and ask me about my journey. And I just began to lose weight through my own transformation through food. And that's how it was, and that's how the FitMenCook community was started. It's not an altruistic community. Now it is. We try to help everybody. I want everyone to be healthy and fit. But really, I was just trying to do a side hustle because I couldn't afford to pay for a personal trainer.
Well, and not only that, I mean, and I've heard you say it, it's one thing that you wanted to be fit, but it was literally about staying alive for you at one point. I mean,
Yeah,
that's how critical of a place you were at in your life. So I'm just uh
yeah,
bravo for having the courage to go into that bookstore and go, well, we're either going this way or maybe we got to go this way. And you did the work.
yeah,
And then, what it has become is just remarkable. Now you're changing other people's lives, which is so, so cool.
yeah.
When you first started seeing the shift and you started losing weight, and I assume was feeling a lot better, when did you realize, hold on here, I have an opportunity?
Yeah, I think that the first sign for me that maybe I had something was I started my blog in 2012, in the summer of 2012, and I just began to grow like exponentially by that January time frame, when healthy eating. I didn't put it together, that was a really big thing, and everyone started to go to my blog and ask me all these questions, right? So at the time, I got this message from bodybuilding.com, and I thought it was spam, so I didn't respond to it. And then 2 weeks later, I got another follow-up message from them. And at this time, if you don't know, bodybuilding.com was one of the top 100 websites in the world. It was like so much traffic because that was the only way. This was pre-Amazon, where you could get your healthy supplements and whatnot. It was a hugely popular website. So I got an email from them the second time around. I said, all right, let me just respond to it. And I said, sure, we can hop on the phone. I thought they were trying to set up some type of affiliate thing. And it was the editor in chief of bodybuilding.com. And he said, our athletes love your meals, love your approach. Will you come and write for us? And I was thinking, do you know what I look like? Because I don't look like a fitness model. I'm not the people that you put on top of magazines. I'm not that dude. And he said, it doesn't matter. We love your approach to healthy living. Will you come do that? And that was one of the first
Oh.
things, that kind of got me to think like maybe I have something, and maybe this passion that I have to help myself get healthy, but help other people, can be something else.
Hmm. Well, I know it's interesting to hear you talk about the span and how things have certainly changed from a technological standpoint, from a social media standpoint. A lot has happened in the last 10 years, going from a blog to what you have achieved now and all of the many platforms that you have. But from a business standpoint, there's got to be a huge learning curve there. There's, you're figuring out YouTube, you've got to have an Instagram. I mean, look at what you have grown. What were some of the bigger
Yeah.
obstacles once you started growing?
A lot of stuff behind the scenes that you just don't share, with people, because I just don't think it's necessary. But one thing that I will share is that content doesn't always come as easy. And also, when you change from a position of like, this was my passion, and now all of a sudden I'm doing it full time, so it becomes my job. If I didn't have the right boundaries set up, um, in place, so I allowed my passion to become a chore, and I began to hate what I
Mm,
was doing, because I was just like, oh, I gotta do another post. I gotta do this. I've got to make sure that
mm,
people are describing. I got it. And so the very thing that I love to do was now just
Mm,
because I was falling out of love with it because I was just doing it all the time. I didn't have the right
mm,
boundaries. So that's one thing for sure behind the scenes that I had to go ahead and do. And not just with content creation, but also just being on social media. Yeah,
mm,
it's funny saying this, but I'm a social media personality, but I try to spend at least amount of time now on social media. I'm the dude that like says, "Hey, please don't send me a DM. You need to call me. If you have my number, you need to be calling me." I'm the person who calls. I'm not the guy who
mm.
texts often. I like to, hey, I'm pick up the phone. I want to go back to the to pre
Yeah.
social media times. In fact, my girlfriend,
Uh-huh.
we talk about this. I said like, and she asked me, because I when she met me, I don't think she knew what I was doing, and that was fine with me. I don't really care. But even still, I was just. She asked me at one point, "Do you want me to follow you?" And I said, "You can if you want to. It's really not a big thing for me. I would love if you just ask me about my day." Instead of just discovering it on
Mm,
social media, like what we did before. Like I want that like interpersonal connection with you. So yeah,
mhm.
it's one thing that people may not think about, but I genuinely try to spend less time on social media so I can have much more of the in-person interactions.
I want to talk about food and emotional health because I mean that's another thing. There are
Hmm.
many things, social media being one of them, things that can drain the way we feel and how heavy we are, or how anxious we get, or this, all the comparison. There are a lot of negative sides, obviously, of social media.
Yeah.
Positive ones as well, though. Food and how we feel. What is that connection and why is it
Hmm.
so, so important?
Yeah. Well, first off, just scientifically, I guess we could start by saying that everybody or a lot of people know that serotonin, when they talk about that, it's like a mood booster, right? It's like that part in our brains that makes us feel good. It makes us feel happy and whatnot. Well, the highest concentration of serotonin has been found like inside of our stomach. So gut health and what we eat is really important to how we feel. That's why we have that term comfort food. Like when we eat something, people would be like, "Oh, I felt really good afterwards," or "Oh, I felt really good about eating it." That's because it gives us instant satisfaction, but studies have also shown that like maybe like 5 minutes later, if you eat something that's just not so healthful for you, you end up feeling bloated and lethargic and just like, oh, you're regretting it. So that comfort food high is actually short lived. So if you think about food like that, then you understand that what we put into our bodies makes us feel good. Instead of talking about it that way, I just want to give you an empirical example of what I went through and why I believe like what I do. When I was at my lowest and having a suicidal ideation, I was in counseling, I was on medication to feel better. And when I started just cooking for myself, just to all right, it was cooking out of necessity because I couldn't afford a lot of things. I was on food stamps at the time because I had lost my job, I'd lost everything. I didn't have anything. So I was literally just trying to find my way. And cooking for myself was a way for me to stay within my budget. And the crazy thing began to happen. I just began to feel so much better. I began to work out and really get into exercise a lot more. Weight began to fall off me. I started to feel better in my mood. And then all of a sudden, I woke up, y'all, and I realized, oh snap, I haven't taken my depression and anxiety medication in 2 weeks. So I went to my
Mm,
psychiatrist right away. I was like, oh my God, I'm probably going to be due for, I'm going to spiral out of control. He said, no, 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 no. This is a good thing. He said, if you don't need it right now, don't take it because sometimes it's circumstantial. But what you've discovered is that there's a big synergy between being active and eating better. It makes you feel better too. So continue on doing that. You don't have to take it right now, but if you need it, take it. And that right there, just a light bulb, a huge light bulb like went off like food is the key to me feeling better. Medication's good and needed in some cases, right? Medicine is a really good thing, y'all.
mhm,
But it just
mhm.
showed me that I don't have to rely on that solely to feel better.
Right. Ugh. That is so, so powerful. And I'm so glad you're sharing that because I think, there are a lot of people that haven't had that unlock yet, right? Of like, oh, wow, gut health equals a better mood. Gut health
Hmm.
equals more energy. Gut health, all of that is so connected as we continue to learn more about that. And what you're doing by putting all of these recipes out there and all these, I'm telling you, Kevin, I am not a cook and I get real intimidated in the kitchen. And I was on your website today and I was like, I got excited because I was like, I think I can do this. And I was like,
Yeah.
turkey sliders and little blue cheese? Like, my kids will actually eat this, you know? I
Yeah.
love, love, love what you're putting out there for the
Thank
people
you.
watching. I know so many people, especially in the last year or so, right? We've heard so much about otherwise pretty normal people really falling in these slumps. What are maybe some tips you could give them to just baby step back into these practices that will help them to feel better?
Okay. The first one, I usually say this and I still say it, is just to start small. Don't try to overhaul everything on day one. But I actually want to speak to something that I feel like I know that I've dealt with and a lot of other people that I've spoken to offline are dealing with. The first thing that I want you to do, if you gain some weight because of what we're going through, and it is trauma, all of us have been going through something traumatic. Even if you haven't lost anybody or experienced that, this is traumatic. I want you to give yourself a break. Give yourself a break. All right. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't like get down. I can't believe you gained all this weight and the blah blah blah. I can't even fit in my clothes. Oh, we just went through hell and we're still going through it. I want you to give yourself a break. And I say that because the more we rehearse these types of comments in our heads, the more we
Mhm.
actually go down that path, and we'll continue the same behavior because we're like, what's the point at the end of the day? So I just want you to forgive yourself and give yourself some grace to be like, whew, that wasn't at my best, but you know what? I want to get back on track now. And when those negative thoughts creep in, I want you to rehearse that. It's really important that you do that. Then I want you to pick
Mhm.
one habit that you perhaps picked up during this whole pandemic or whatnot, and I want you to work on that. Perhaps you've been a little bit more loosey goosey with the alcohol consumption. You're like, I need to cut down back on this. I want you to work on just that one thing. And I'm not saying go cold turkey with it. I'm saying if you drink 3 bottles of wine in 1 week, I want you to go to 2 bottles of wine and then 1 bottle of wine per week. That's your goal. That's what I want you to focus on. And once you get done with that, you're going to be like, Kev, that was easy. Correct. That's the way I want you to feel. And I want you to add one more thing onto that, and one more thing, and one more thing. For me, it was maybe I can start to cook my lunch, and bring my lunch every single day to work. So that way, first of all, I can save money, but also I can stay on track. I'm like, I did that for a minute, and I was like, this is easy. Well, let me do my breakfast. Let me do my post workout meal. And all of a sudden, my entire diet was something that I was cooking, but it didn't happen on day one. So let's get out of that day one mentality. Do it gradually.
That is such good advice. And it will be easier to sustain because you're doing little baby steps over time that will grow into something really
That's right.
strong. And because if you try to do all of it in a day, we know how that turns out. Then you just give up and quit because that's just simply impossible. So that is really, really good advice. I know we have some questions from our audience in just a minute, but before we get to our first question, I just want to ask you because you have built this business and you've been so successful in your endeavors, and you've come out with not only your content that is life changing for people, but now we've got spices to choose from, we've got our good teas that we can um, purchase from you, you've got all the things going on and really, really
Yeah.
building this business, but you've also built this community. So what
Yeah.
impact is it at the end of the day that you are trying to leave with people? What is your mark? What is it you are hoping to to do? Think you've done, but continue to do.
Thanks for asking that. I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. Um, and I think my answer has changed over the years. I think fundamentally, I don't want anyone to ever feel the way that I felt a long time ago when I felt that I had zero options. Um, but more than anything else, I want to broaden people's perspective and definition of what wellness is and what it can be. I think that we've been told and we've been shown a very narrow definition of what it looks like aesthetically, and the numbers wise, but health and wellness is so much more than that. It's so much more than the magazine cover. It's about the dad who wants to get off his heart medication so he can take a walk around the block with his kids. It's about the person, the woman who wants to be able to travel the world and see that. It's about that person who just wants to feel better in life, even how they look, but just wants to feel better. And all those things I found really do start in the kitchen. So that's what I want people to be left with, that our lives can be so much richer. And that's why I say being healthy and happy, because it's so broad, and how we define both of those things.
Your dog agrees, apparently.
Yes, that's it. I am actually dog sitting. Chadwick, I'm actually dog sitting for my girlfriend. She's in London at the moment
Oh,
on work, and her little dog is just like he's the guard dog here. So apologies, everybody.
I love it. That's so cute. No, he was just echoing what you said. He was like, "Yes, go Kevin, go Kevin, go." My dog's
It's
two
like the
feet away,
church.
but just I got a cashed out sleeper over here. Apparently, nothing I'm saying is in any way exciting. Okay, let's get to Quinn because our first audience member with a question for you, Kevin. I know Quinn is dying to ask you. So go ahead, take it away, my friend.
Hi,
What's up,
Kevin.
Quinn?
Really, hey, how you doing? Really inspiring story. Um, what was one of the hardest eating habits for you to break, and what was the
Ooh.
solution, whether conventional or unconventional?
um,
That's
Probably
coming
for
from someone that
me, it
has
had to.
it's coming
Go
from someone
ahead.
that's like struggled with my relationship with food. So,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey man, I feel you on that. So I would say probably for me would be the late night binging. Hormonally, I just feel like I get a lot hungrier after 8 p.m. I can go the whole day without eating, and so late night binging, partly just so I could like go to sleep with a full stomach, but also just like out of anxiety and depression. So one thing that I had to do was first off make sure that I'm eating adequately throughout the day. So I would literally put a timer on my phone to remind me to eat
Who's on your
like
phone?
every so often. Like go ahead and eat something, so that way I won't be super hungry at night. Um, the other thing I did was and some people would disagree with this, but I actually stopped buying things that my little comfort snacks. So I would just go in and eat tons and tons of nut butter out of anxiety in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. Am I, just up there just scooping it out? So I stopped buying nut butter, and that really did help me out because I didn't have that to reach for. And then I replaced that with like fruit if I were to be up at that time. I'm not up anymore. The third thing is that I got on a better sleep routine. So I got myself a weighted blanket, a weighted sleep mask. I started to have my own routine. It sounds kind of granola, but having a system about how to wind down the day actually worked out. And then one of my top things I actually got from a bodybuilder friend of mine is to eat boiled eggs. And then when I'm up in the middle of the night, I just have some boiled egg. If I were to be hungry, I have a boiled egg. The yolk is really filling. Put some hot sauce on it. The capsicum and the hot sauce helps to curb my appetite, and I go right back to sleep.
wow, thank you. That was actually like right on point. Thank you.
Thank you, Quinn.
You are so full of so much amazing advice. Do we need a weighted blanket? I've been so curious about those. You like it,
Oh,
huh?
they're so awesome. Yeah, I love it. I
Okay.
swear by it now. I thought it was like, you know, marketing. It's so good. And I sweat. That's my superpower is I can sweat. I don't sweat with this. And I got the bamboo kind. You can get one from Amazon. They're so amazing. And then I got a weighted sleep mask too. I'm telling you, you are out cold. It feels so good.
You are awesome. Okay, last question for you before we let you go, because we're gonna end up going over here. Is just, if you have a cheat meal, what is it, Kevin?
Whataburger, easy. Whataburger, IHOP, or Waffle House. Whataburger is like one of the most delicious places in the world. You can have a burger on Texas toast, and then the Waffle House and IHOP or Denny's, they're all like into one category. That actually makes me really happy because I just know what I'm gonna get. There is something about having a treat meal, and you go to a place just thinking that, oh, okay, I'll try something new, and it's a terrible thing, and you've been saving up for it. You're like, ah, I just wasted my treat meal on this. But those places, they will always hit. They will always slap.
More good advice. Like, if you're gonna have a cheat meal, make sure you know it's gonna deliver. Oh my gosh. Well, Kevin, you guys, please follow him. FitMenCook. You are so awesome, Kevin. We can't thank you enough for sharing your story
Thank you.
and your light and your shine with all of us so much. We hope to do it again sometime.
Absolutely. I would love that. Thank you all so much for having me. Cheers, y'all.
Oh, Kevin, thank you. Cheers to you. Cheers to all of our amazing audience members tonight. And a reminder, you can go to adrinkwith.com and watch this entire interview again. And a big thank you to our sponsors at Think Protein Bars. Cheers, everyone. Have a beautiful rest of your night and week. See you next time.